One topic I've had the opportunity to provide feedback to people on throughout the years has been on the subject of how to deliver compelling speeches. I've often been asked, how do I deliver what it is I'm going to say in a compelling and engaging manner? And it's often boiled down to 4 tips I've given to people, and then after I tell them to you, I'm going to try to exemplify them. The first tip I've often given to people is to first vary your intonation, meaning how high you talk, how low you talk, vary exactly what it is that you sound like when you're saying different things. Don't just be monotonous, saying everything with roughly the same pitch. That's often a good way to bore people. You want to vary your intonation. Second tip I've often given to people is to vary your rate. Don't just talk about whatever it is you're talking about at the same speed the whole time. It's another good way to bore your audience. You want to be able to talk faster or talk slower depending on whatever it is that you're talking about. Maybe what you're talking about is a more exciting part of what you're saying and you want to speed it up because it's more energized, and then maybe you want to slow it down for part of the speech where you want your audience to think about what you're saying a bit more often. So you want to pay attention to what it is you're talking about, talk faster, talk slower to really enhance your message. Third tip is to make use of dramatic pauses. I feel like this is a aspect of public speaking that is often neglected. A lot of people, either because they're excited or maybe nervous, they just kind of go from start to finish, plowing through the speech, plowing through whatever it is that they have to say, and they just only think about pausing. But pausing is a very effective way to build appropriate tension and to recapture the focus of your audience. They'll be thinking, what it is that he's about to say. Why did he just pause? Was I dozing off on something important? And it quickly brings your audience back. The fourth tip I would provide would be to use vivid vocabulary as appropriate, depending on what it is you're talking about and to whom you're talking to. And specific examples really depends on whatever it is you're talking about. But keep an eye out and an ear out for trying to determine how you can spice up what you're saying. So I'm going to try and exemplify these tips for you. I'm going to open 1984 up to some random section. I'm going to read it in a way that is boring, monotonous, mono-rate, and then I'll try to read it in a way that actually exemplifies the stuff I was talking about. It was only after a decade of national wars, civil wars, revolutions, and counter-revolutions in all parts of the world that INSOC and its rivals emerged as fully worked out political theories, but they had been foreshadowed by the various systems generally called totalitarian, which had appeared earlier in the century in the main outlines of the world. Now I'm going to read it, trying to exemplify those tips for you. It was only after a decade of national wars, civil wars, revolutions, and counter-revolutions in all parts of the world that INSOC and its rivals emerged as fully worked out political theories. But they had been foreshadowed by the various systems generally called totalitarian, which had appeared earlier in the century. So I hope that was a decent example for you of how to sound more engaging with what you talk about. And those are 4 tips that I would say are pretty generally applicable to every setting within which you can give a speech. So I hope they've been useful for you, and if you have any tips of your own, feel free to drop them down in the comments below.